In this video, we are revealing the perfect length for your yoga videos. We have access to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of videos in our Marvelous platform. We ran a few calculations. We have the average watch time of viewers, and we're going to share that with you today because we do not want you wasting time making videos that are so long, nobody's watching. Right, Jenny?
Yeah,
Let's get into it.
absolutely. So building an online yoga studio, teaching anything wellness related online requires you to think differently than if you were going to do it in person, right? So when we're in person and we're in community and where our bodies are close to other people, we have attention spans that can last a little bit longer than when we're looking at a screen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're in a place, you're doing an hour-long class or a 90-minute sequence or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and community is sort of a part of that, and it's a practice, right? So you just have to think about your students or your clients and their experience and what you're optimizing for them with your online classes. So when someone is practicing at home or on vacation or, by their desk at work, obviously they're going to have less time for that
Mhm.
practice than if they've devoted 2 hours of their day to drive or walk to your studio,
Right.
take a class, and then get back and take a shower, right? Like this is in and out, so for almost everyone in this situation, you should be optimizing and thinking about your client or your student and what their needs are at any given moment.
Yeah. And we have a lot of teachers in the past who have said, but my video needs to be 90 minutes. It has to be 90 minutes. So what do you say to those
Or
teachers?
75 minutes. Yeah, well, you can think that, but we have the data that shows where they drop off in watching those videos.
Mhm.
So just like with YouTube, where people kind of drop off after this initial couple minutes, the same thing happens within a paid platform as well. People simply don't have 90 minutes to devote to an online wellness class. If they did, chances are, now that we're post pandemic, they would be going to do that in person. They would not be watching on their screen.
Yeah.
So I really want you to put yourself in your student or your client's shoes and make decisions for them based on what's best for them.
Because they're going to be like, I got to go put dinner in. I got to go change the laundry. I got just a few minutes. I got to go pick up my child. Like there's all these distractions at home. And I believe that is a huge part of why they just don't sit there for 90 minutes.
Right. So just like you wouldn't want to incorporate equipment into your videos that someone might not have in their home, like if you're modeling certain poses or fitness exercises that require equipment, you also have to make sure that you're preparing people for that and that they're going to have that in their home space or wherever they're practicing or doing the class, because otherwise it's just a big fat disappointment for them.
Mhm.
So if you can imagine that I'm your student and I'm taking your online yoga class, for example, and I'm at my house and you require me to have like all kinds of bolsters and blocks and things that I don't have, and you're not giving an alternative for me, I'm going to feel like I can't actually complete the practice that you've designed. The same thing goes if you've designed a 90-minute or a 75-minute class, which are the standard length of classes in most studio environments, and then I don't have time to do that class, you're gonna kinda leave me hanging, right? I'm gonna get into it, I'm gonna put on my yoga pants, my tank top, I'm gonna set up, I'm gonna start my practice, and then it's just, minutes into that practice that I'm gonna have to walk away and go pick up my kid from school or, get dinner out of the oven. So I'm gonna feel like that's a big letdown or disappointment. Now, if you are running a membership, which is a big business model in our industry, someone is less likely to stay in your membership if they're not getting the result that they were promised in the membership, which is the sort of like to complete, regular practice. Like if you're only giving them 90-minute classes and that's basically impossible for them to do within the confines of their house and their home life, you're just sort of setting them up for disappointment. So they're less likely to continue to pay you for that.
Yeah, that's right, and I think, it's really hard to switch the thinking, into, like, what are they actually doing at home because so many teachers are focused
Yeah.
on the "What am I teaching? What's the best way for me to get this across?" And I also wanna say that we are gonna share the average in a second, but it's also okay if you go over. You do need to think about what is the amount of time I need to do the best job, right? So if you're 5 minutes over or 10 minutes over, that's fine. We just don't want you wasting an hour creating videos that are an hour over this average amount of time.
Mhm. Yeah.
What is it that you need to teach? Like, what's the minimum? I think that's maybe the best way to look at it. What's the shortest
Yeah.
video you can create?
Yes, and obviously, like, pay attention to what your students are asking for. So, there's always outliers to everything. So if we tell
Mhm.
you to make your video a certain length, then that's what most people are watching, but you know that your population of students or clients behaves differently, then you do you. You teach to the needs of your business and your clients, but we're just here to give you some averages just to kind of normalize this. And I will say, Sandy, that I went through and I looked at like kind of the top few videos on our platform. There are certain people who like
Mhm.
get a lot of views consistently every single month. And I was looking at what videos they have that are performing the best. And there's still a pretty significant drop off on those videos too. So it's not just like, oh, I'm failing because everyone's dropping off my videos. Like,
Right.
no, even the most popular
Right.
teachers on our platform are seeing this drop
Seeing a
off.
drop off. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
should we
what's the
say it?
average watch time? Yep, say it.
Yeah, so it's just about 19 and a half minutes. So a 20-minute practice, if you're consistently creating 20-minute yoga videos, you're gonna be doing just fine. I
Mhm.
will say that this has actually been going up a little bit in the last couple of years, which is interesting. Like, we were sort of down kind of immediately post-pandemic to like a 17-minute and change average view time, and now we're at like 19 and a half minutes. So that's
Mhm.
been an interesting fluctuation, I think, for
Since the
us to see.
pandemic?
Yeah, since I think in the last 2 years. I mean, I go in and check this kind of stuff pretty regularly because that's my job to understand our industry and sort of what's working and what isn't. But historically, up until the pandemic, we were watching that because we started our platform, just so everyone knows. We had our first customers on the platform in 2014. So it's been a long time. So we had 6 solid years pre-pandemic of data. And so we were kind of seeing 18 down to 17, kind of lower, 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 which is really depressing as someone kind of watching society have a shorter and shorter attention span over time. But then in the last couple of years, we've seen it pick back up, which I think is a really positive sign for all of us in the wellness industry and all of us in the creator economy and sort of all of us as humans to see that maybe people can pay attention a little bit longer, because
2 more
17
minutes.
yeah, 17 minutes is hard with a fitness or a wellness class,
Mhm.
right? Or yoga class. It's hard to get something good in that time. So I would say if it were me and I were teaching yoga classes online, I would be optimizing for most of my content to be around that 20-minute mark. That
Yeah.
way I'm ensuring that, at least on average, I'm making something that people are likely to watch most of before they
Mhm.
log off.
And it may mean breaking up some longer teachings, classes, lessons into parts, right? Instead of
Yeah.
doing the whole over an hour kind of video. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, and again, average is different than median. We don't need to get into that today. But if you are in the like 90 minutes is my jam kind of space, like maybe rethink that because, that's a really hard request of your students
Yeah.
to ask them to
And
engage in an online 90-minute class. And maybe you just save that for your in person classes.
right, but I think a lot of teachers, like, see that their clients aren't watching it, that the videos aren't getting watched, and then they're like, "It's me, I'm not good enough," but it's actually just how people operate with online yoga at home.
I mean, if you think about it, I bet if we had access to the Netflix analytics, like, people
Mm.
would be dropping off after 20 minutes on Netflix too. Like, I don't even think that this is just our industry. It's
No,
super
Jenny, it's like
interesting to me.
4 or
Yeah.
5-hour binge sessions on Netflix. Flake on
Oh,
the
dear
couch,
God.
don't move.
I would love to be on a fly on the wall in, like, the Netflix analytics room and just really know for sure because I think people, like, probably click around. I think the idea that people are, like, sucked into what they're watching for hours and hours, unless it's, like, the Twin Flames documentary series or something, it's like people are unlikely, I feel like, to have the attention span to watch anything. And obviously, those of you are watching this, many of you are watching this on social or on YouTube, and so our attention spans in these places. Quick, quick, quick. So with that said, we should be signing
Let's
off.
wrap it up. So that's the average, about 20 minutes for videos. That's what you should be aiming for yoga. And if you want to learn how to make more engaging videos, you can watch this video right here.